Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. I'm still broadcasting from Los Angeles here, so it's a little bit early of a show. So welcome to the early edition, and thank you to my guest, who I'll say it again later, for adjusting the time and helping me make my flight to come back home. And just got to give some shout outs here. I'm going to shout out thisent.com as normal because I love what Joe Walker's doing with those write-ups and especially all the positive stories. My guest is also giving some shout outs. So her husband and her kids, and we're going to get into them a little bit more. And she'd also like to shout out the people at Bless Fest, in particular, Genesis and Dan. Genesis is a great supporter and a great friend of the Fledge. So we give them a shout out as well. And then also Michigan Women Forward. I hope I just got that right. Or is it Moving Women Forward? An MWF. A shout out to them for everything they're doing with the supporting women and women-led businesses and all of that work. And then I just got to give a last shout out to Raven, who we're flying away from today. So she will be officially moved into Los Angeles and starts her job on Monday, and we're super proud of her. So let's get to my guests, though. How you doing today, Dara?
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
I am doing well. So again, thank you for coming on the show early. I really appreciate it. This helps us quite a bit, and it keeps the streak alive at 329. So
yes, sir. No problem.
So hey, let's say your husband's name. I didn't ask you before the show.
Thank you, Jerry, for that consideration. His name is Mark Mayhoe, and he is definitely my number one supporter, along with the rest of our family and our children. So thank you for that.
How many children do you have, if you don't mind?
So we are uniquely blended, and together we have 9 children, but they range in age. They're diverse in age. So from adult down to 10 years old, we just have 2 at home, and we're going to be down to 1 because we have 1 kid that we are sending off to college this fall. So we're excited about that.
Congratulations. Where are they going?
Yep. So my son is very skilled with what we do here. Tree care, and he also is inclined with diesel automotive repair. So he'll be close to home. He'll be going to the Auto Diesel Institute of Baker College. So that's out in Owasso. So he'll be living on campus and stuff and getting the full experience without being so far away from home. So yes, sir. Nice. Thank you so much for asking.
Of course. So let's get into you a little bit. Where were you born and raised, and where'd you go to school, and what brought you to kind of where you're at right now?
Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to spoil it earlier when we were talking about where we're from, but Jerry, I am from Lansing, Michigan, born and raised. Some of my highlights and lowlights were right here in Lansing. And you know what? I love my hometown, and I'm glad to be here and to be just a bright light in the community. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm from Lansing, Michigan.
So where'd you go to school? Can you name all your elementary schools and all of that?
Now, Jerry, the question really is, can I name all of my high schools? You know what? And I say that in a way, I always say sometimes you have to laugh about it so you don't cry about it, and so I do have a background of During those years of high school, I was really unstable for various reasons, economic and behavioral reasons. So I went to a lot of schools, Jerry. I went to probably 6 elementary schools. I went to all of the high schools. I'll just say all of the high schools except for Everett. I even went to Lansing Christian in the midst of that, and that was quite the experience. But yeah, your girl went to a lot of high schools, Jerry.
So you were at Eastern for a little. I went to Everett and Eastern.
Okay. Yep. So I was at Eastern for a brief stint. And
Yeah.
that was probably one semester of my freshman year. I
All
was at
right.
Eastern Quaker for a little bit.
So you graduated from high school, I don't know, however many years ago. And I know that you want to give a shout out to WiseMan tree experts right now.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Jerry. Yes, Wise Man Tree Experts is my primary focus, right? I mean, it's really try not to neglect the area that is producing the most, so Wise Man Tree Experts is really the muscle behind the hustle of my other initiatives and businesses. But my husband Mark Mayhoe is the brainchild of Wise Man Tree Experts, which he started back in 2001. We are proud to say that this month we will be celebrating our 20-year anniversary. So big shout out to Wise Man Tree Experts and my Prince Charming, better known as the president here at Wise Man Tree Experts.
I love so much about this. 20 years in business is an amazing accomplishment. I think that, sometimes 1 year in business is an amazing accomplishment.
Sure.
The average, I think, a large percentage of companies fail in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
And so to make it to 20, I think is amazing. So good job.
Thank you.
And then the other, I love that phrase you use, the muscle behind the hustle,
Yeah,
because that can mean that you've got a pretty good runway for the next thing that you're going to launch.
that part.
And yeah, and not, I guess it's you're mitigating your risk,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
There you go. There you
awesome.
go.
That's
Yeah.
very good. So you've been doing that. Anything else you want to talk about in between like high school and where we're at right now?
Wow. So there was a lot that happened. Wow. Between high school and now. So interestingly enough, I had a pretty it was really interesting between high school and now. Unfortunately, I don't really have a traditional background, and I take that back. I'm not going to say unfortunately, because it was all conducive to who I am today, right? All of it. I am a strong Bible believer, and the word says everything works to the good of those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose, right? I'm almost sure that's how it goes. So anyway, I really believe that. And so I know, even though I didn't graduate high school at the time that my friends were graduating high school, even though I was a teen parent, even though I had some experiences of juvenile detention and just all kinds of junk in my background, right? It really is the fuel to my passion now. Why do I enjoy helping others? Because I have been in such extreme positions that I needed help myself. So, how would I ever have passion to help others if I never knew what it was like to really need a helping hand?
Yeah, I love that inspiration like that, and that when you said unfortunately, I kind of it made me twitch a little bit
Uh
because I was
huh.
like, "What do you mean? That's those getting that I don't know, the going through those rough spots is
Yeah.
what maybe polishes you, right?"
Yeah. That's
And
right.
so, what let's talk about the. I guess it's a new endeavor that you're starting, right? You want to tell us about that?
Yeah. So, love covers. Okay. So, love covers. Love covers has been a thing really before it was a thing. LuvCovers started because I needed a Cash App name. I mean, like, true story. And my thing is love. Like, I'm always talking about love. Love your neighbor, love your husband, love your kids, love God, just love people, love yourself, and so I needed a Cash App name at in the spur of the moment. And I said, LuvCovers, do everything in love. How perfect. And so every initiative that I did after that, I said, you know what, Dara, you really have a lot going on to where you can use that as the umbrella to everything that you do. So LuvCovers is the home base of everything that I do, whether it is an awesome book that I write about my life called A Wonderful Change, talking about that transition between those high school years and who I became now with the help of the Lord. And I also focus on a little bit of fashion. So I also offer or feature different fashions that are on my website. I do a little bit of motivational speaking. So I go and share my testimony in um, called to places where people are experiencing things that I have been successfully delivered from, that transitional stuff, people in my old shoes. So I have an initiative called Working Undercover. It's a lot, Jerry. It's so much. LuvCovers is so diverse. I have an initiative called Working Undercover. And I always say, Lord, use me in a way that I'm filling in the gap. I don't want to, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Like, either jump in with someone that's already doing it, or do something where there's a deficit, where there's a gap. And so I realized, I sat and I thought about being poor as a young person, not having some of the basic needs, aside from food and other things. We didn't have socks, t-shirts, underwear sometime. And I
Mm-hmm.
started being really observant in some of the underserved schools that have a high population of more underserved students. And I noticed they were struggling in that area. It was a winter time. It was in the winter time. And I noticed students had on shoes, gym shoes in the snow with no socks. And I said, Lord, help me to do something about this. And that's where Working Undercover came, undercover, like undergarments, and
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
working undercover, kind of behind the scenes, because I try not to make a lot of noise about being benevolent and helping the community. That's not stuff that you get on the bullhorn about. So we work undercover, and we have a yearly initiative that we've been a little rusty the last couple years because of COVID and all this kind of stuff. But I'm praying that God bring us out. I know it is already here, and I'm just going to run by faith and know that this year we are going to do another initiative where we will be able to donate those items, socks, underwear, and t-shirts, to as many children that sign up for it. Most
Mm-hmm.
times we donate those goods to Eve's House, because I love Eve's House domestic shelter. Oh, I love Eve's House. Shout out to my girl Terry over there, because
Yeah.
I was a resident at Eve's House a couple times. So, like I said, giving back to the areas that served me, giving back to the areas in which I once suffered. So
Yeah.
that's what LuvCovers is all about. I released a song, Jerry, earlier this year. I also released a spoken word project called The Resilient Black Woman, celebrating just the resilience of Black women in my that came before me, and even myself. So that is my most I would say my most celebrated project this year, is how much heart I really put into that. And you can find that on YouTube. It's under Reese. It's called The Resilient Black Woman.
So YouTube, look up Reese, right?
Yes, yep. And then my song is on all digital outlets, music outlets. So it's called Oh Lord, and it is a testimonial song. It's a praise song to just celebrate what God did for your girl, because he brought me from the miry clay for real, and so I'm just always pumped up and excited to share my testimony, because it is a powerful one. And I just want to help people to believe more in God, and to believe in his power, and to know that if it happened for me, as toe up as I was, it can certainly happen for anybody if
I
you believe.
I made a mistake on your song's title.
Okay.
Because I was listening and typing and not thinking.
Okay, it's okay.
Oh Lord,
Yes.
like with
OH.
just one.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh Lord. Yes. So that's what's going on. I also lead a small Facebook women's community that focuses on health and wellness, mind, body, and soul. It's about 600 women in the group, and we're kind of quiet, a little bit. We have health and wellness reset. And challenges and weight loss challenges through the year that are incentivized. So we have wonderful sponsors, usually sometimes WiseMan tree experts or other people in the community that have small businesses or just people in general that's like, man, I just love what you're doing. Let me put a few dollars on the table and make sure I help support what you're doing. So it's a lot going on, and not to even put this at the bottom of everything that I'm doing, but I am a avid supporter of my church, my pastor, Alfred P. Singleton, and his lovely wife, our First Lady, Vivian Singleton. I am a supporter of my church. I believe I'm a pillar of my church. I help support our church in any way that there's a gap. Like I said, just making sure that I get in where I fit in and not so much oversaturate in areas that those little glorified areas that people want to work. Give me the little dirty work and I'll get through it and we'll get pretty later. I just want to do the work.
I like that.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the kids for a second.
Okay.
How can people support your effort? Do you take donations? Is there a website? How can we promote that a little bit?
Yes, thank you so much, Jerry. So, yep, my website is LuvCovers.org. So it's LuvCovers.org. And that's where you'll find everything that's going on with me and LuvCovers. Also, if you're interested in checking out WiseMan Tree Experts, I'll just put a disclaimer. We are super, super busy. So if you just want to just poke around and see who we are and what we're about and all that, our website is TreeWiz at wisemantree.com.
At wisemantree.com?
Yes. Yep.
That's the email, right?
I'm sorry. It is treewiz.com. Yeah,
All right.
no, wisemantree.com. Final answer. It's too many websites and emails and stuff, Jerry. But wisemantree.com is our website.
All right, we got it now.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
both of those websites are in the comments.
Yeah,
and
so
I'll just throw them on the screen so people can see them if they can't read the comments.
Thank you.
And that one right there. All right. So that's one thing. What do you take money and then go buy the stuff, or do you take brand new T-shirts and all of that, or you do both?
I do both. It just depends on what works best for people. I mean, I need the donation, so I always make myself flexible. I always have a lot of help. Like I said, my husband and our children are like Johnny on the spot all the time. My church, again, like they always have my back. So I always have all the help that I need. So people donate money. And I'm not a nonprofit, so it's not tax deductible donations. But what I do thank God is that people support me. They believe in what I'm doing, and I'm not collecting a lot of money. I'm not collecting a whole lot of. We usually take care of and have blessings for at least about 50 children with all the socks, t-shirts, and underwear, and they get all three brand new. So I have a lot of support. So I normally set up a donation box at my church or in an establishment of another business owner friend, my salon owners and stuff, friends at my church, So, hey, we find a way to get those donations in because I'm all about working in excellence. You go hard or you go home. Don't half step it. So every time we have an initiative, we give it our absolute best.
Yeah. So on the show, and I don't know if you know who Sherry Pruitt is. Sorry, I couldn't think of her name for a second. But Sherry Pruitt, she lost a child to gun violence. And I lost a child too. So her and I are, in this club that nobody wants to be in. And she talks about stepping in the gap. It's our job to come back and step in the gap and fill the gap, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I just love that theme of the way you said it, and I thought the thing that you kind of added to that is really thinking about it more like a puzzle and not trying to be the same piece as somebody else, but being your own unique piece.
Come on, Jerry.
So I like that a lot.
Thank
Uh,
you, Jerry.
so
I want to say, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm sorry. Please, my heart is with you and Sherry. And I mean, really, I don't personally know that experience, but my husband, his namesake child was died to gun violence in Gary, Indiana. So I see his pain and I try to help him bear it as best as I can. So my heart truly does go out to you all.
and my heart back.
Yeah.
So
So anyway,
yeah.
I'll cry in a heartbeat, Jerry. So we're not about to do that. So let's
Oh,
not.
I'll go with you. I'm going to be
Oh,
crying all afternoon when I fly away from leaving my daughter out here.
yeah, you're sweet.
Uh, yes.
Mhm.
So how do all these things? Oh, let me ask you another thing real quick. Do you work primarily with younger people?
Jerry, I work with whoever the Lord leads me to. I have some of the most sporadic and unusual requests from all sorts of people at all sorts of times. And so I just really go with that's why I'm telling you, I am really firm about my relationship with God because I want to know what he is telling me. I want to see what he sees. And so because I don't want to miss anything that's purpose for my life and what I'm supposed to do. And so I have to really put myself in a position to know when it's time because you can't go to everybody, right? And you just can't stick with a certain demographic or a certain area of people. And I'm stepping out. I'm saying, God, stretch me to the areas where people aren't visiting. Sometimes they're not going to church. If I keep on going to church to the same people that are already ministered, then how am I missing all of these people, Lord? Okay, I hear you telling me to go back and reach out to the people at the Fledge, even though some of my worst memories in my life was on Eureka Street and Hosmer and Vine Street. But you know what? I got to step out on faith because if I'm too scared to do it, I may not be able to serve the people that he's saying, Dara, go. I'll protect you. I'll keep you. But they need you through me. You're the middleman. Go do what I called you to do. So that's all it is, Jerry. You getting me excited. I get excited. I do. I really do.
Well, I'm glad that passion is uh, important. Uh, yeah, it's when you said Eureka Street and all of that. That
Yep.
I mean, I know exactly what that little part of the neighborhood you're talking about right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
We used to have a little garden right at the end of Eureka and Hosmer,
Okay.
in that big lot that's right there.
Yep.
So I'm sorry that bad things happened there, but again, those are the bad things maybe that shaped you. Yeah,
That's
exactly,
right. That's
exactly.
right.
So how does this? How would you summarize what your mission is? How's this all come together towards a kind of a single purpose?
Yep. It's so simple, just helping people become the best version of themselves as God helps me. um I really believe in transformation because I've experienced it. I'm not what I did. I'm not who I used to be. I don't have the same way of thinking. I don't have the same way of working with my hands. I don't even have the same way of walking. So my main mission is to help people be the best version of themselves. How can you tie in your worst days to your best days? And that's why I'm in the position that I am in now because I stopped looking for so many opportunities and started creating opportunities, even through my hardships. It's opportunity if you really seek it.
Yeah. So, what's something you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
Yep. Thank you. Good question. I support other entrepreneurs, period. That's helping them to become their best selves, their best version of themselves. There was a reason why they started a business. Perhaps corporate world wasn't working out. Perhaps like me, you have so many barriers that no one really thinks that you have what it takes to push their business forward. Okay, thank you so much. As they say, your haters are your motivators. Well, I think every no was a push for me to believe in myself and to look at someone like my husband who needed a lot of help with his business and to say, you know what? What's my position? And I created my position that I've had here at WiseMan Tree Experts for 12 years now. Yeah. So I support entrepreneurs. I just had my son's open house. Instead of going to the larger restaurants, I didn't go to Cracker Barrel and have them cater my son's open house. I went right to my childhood family friend, someone that I knew that has a catering business. I did end up going to some of the bigger rental spots, but I also went to the smaller spots to get that throne chair and the decorations done and all of that. My accountant has gone from being with a big firm to a trusted accountant that has time to sit down with me and look me in my eyes. So that's what I do every single day. I make sure that I support local entrepreneurs because it's enough out here for everybody and we all trying to get it.
Yeah. So, are you? You don't really think in terms of scarcity. You think in terms of abundance.
Abundance, my baby. It's so much here, but we have to learn unity, working together, benevolence. And not going to say learn because all of us aren't unlearned. We just have to keep moving forward with supporting each other and sharing. My cup is running over, right? That's not to sit like a fat cat and think that I have it all together. That's to splash the people around me. So if my cup is overflowing, I'ma splash the rental people and the fledge and everybody around me because it's not for me to just sit and be saturated. It's truly to splash the people that's around me.
Yeah. And I think you somewhat answered my next question, but I want to dig into a little bit. Why
Okay.
entrepreneurs? Why are
Why
they? Yeah.
entrepreneurs? Um, because it's hard out here for us. And then especially after COVID and stuff and during COVID, because we're not out, but in the thickest of times when our businesses was shut down and the help was coming real slow and businesses went down and all of that stuff. That's important to me because entrepreneur it takes a lot of faith. It takes a lot of sleepless nights even sometimes, to really get that thing rolling. And if we support each other, it won't have to be that hard. And I know that the community has really stood behind Wise Man Tree Experts. When I look on the internet and see all those wonderful reviews, or that I go into the different networking groups on social media and I see how people really support us, that drives me to reciprocate that thing. Thank you for supporting me and I'll support you too.
Yeah. I like it. I like what you're
Yeah.
saying. So, we daisy chain the shows together. And yesterday on the show, I had Zane Benavides, who is a big promoter. He's doing exactly what you're doing in the Latino, not exactly what you're doing, exactly what you just said
Mhm.
in the Latino community. And his question to you is, what's a movie that inspired you and why? And it doesn't have to be like your favorite movie, it can just be a movie that inspired you.
Okay, so that's an easy question because I've been asked that before. Um, my favorite movie, like you said, it really not my favorite movie, but it really inspired me. It gave me the juice. Okay, um, Roxanne, that is my movie. Because I know it's a life story of hip hop and old school rapper Roxanne Shante, and to see how she very boldly shared her background and her life and the low lights of her life, it helped me to be bold enough to, again, a wonderful change, write my book and share my story, and not to be ashamed and not be proud, but rather lean on the fact that I'm glorifying God and his power through sharing those darkest, most ugly times. And so when I saw that movie, I said, and to know that she today is a philanthropist, she today goes back and helps women that are just like her. And I said, you know what? I'm not sleeping another day. And from that point, then I started writing my book, and that thing has come off of my vision board. This has come to my fruition board that this
Mm-hmm.
actually happened. So yeah, Roxanne, that's my movie.
She, in case people don't know, she was 15 when she changed hip hop and rap, right?
Okay.
She was only
Okay.
15 years old, I think,
Yeah, she
during
was.
those.
Yeah, I thought it was 14, but
Maybe
you might be
14,
right.
maybe
Uh-huh.
14. She was young.
She
She
was
wasn't
young.
18.
Yeah,
And yeah, her story is amazing. I,
absolutely.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but I used to say a phrase from one of her songs, a line from one of her songs all the
Uh-huh.
time, and I don't know why. I just like the way that she did it. But it
Okay.
was me, the rocks, give up the box, so you can brag about it for the next 6 blocks.
Okay.
And I don't know why
What
that
you know
gets
about
stuck
that,
in my head.
Jerry?
I know a lot about it. I
I
know a lot
know
about it.
it. I love
Uh,
it.
I was, I don't know when you went to high school and all of that, but I graduated in the mid 80s. And in
Okay.
the 70s, we used to bootleg our radio from our cable. We'd splice into our cable and then hook it up to our radio so we could listen to the different radio stations out of Detroit, because we
Okay.
weren't really playing much in Lansing yet
Uh-huh.
for hip
Uh-huh.
hop and rap.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I grew up on that. My first concert was Sugar Hill Gang
No
in
way. Oh, I
78.
can see you up in there jamming now.
Yep, yep.
Did you, what was your hairstyle, Jerry? Did you have curly hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, I got
I love it.
called Jerry Curl all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jerry curl. I love it.
So my guest tomorrow is Kylie Collette, and she is known as the Ace of Clubs. She's an artist here in Lansing. And what question would you like me to pass to her?
What question do I have for Kylie? Kylie, and what you said, she's an artist?
Yes.
Okay. So, any kind of artist always finds beauty in everything around them. Always finding beauty in everything around them, whether it's music that they're writing about, whether it's a painting that they're painting, or whatever type of art. They always find beauty in everything else. So, my question to you, Kylie, is what do you find most beautiful about yourself? And I hope that it doesn't take you long, because I'm sure that you are so awesome that something just really comes to you really quickly. And I hope that you celebrate that beauty and create your own beauty, and you be just who you are with your beautiful self.
Yeah, I really like that question, and I'm probably going to make her cringe a little bit because people don't like talking about that. But I
Yeah.
wish every guest asked that
Yeah.
question. And
Yes.
I'm gonna turn it back on you too. How
Okay.
would you answer your own question?
What do I like most about myself is I like my heart, Jerry. Because I grew up, it just seemed like everybody was mean. It seemed like I really didn't have an advocate, in different periods of my life. There were periods in time where I had, oh gosh, just people that were really rooting for me. But I remember some very dark times, where I just felt unsupported. I mean, just to keep it real, as a foster kid, incarcerations, time where you're just alone, and I thank God that it didn't ruin me, because it could have made me angry, angry with the world, and feeling like, no one was there for me. So I'm not going to be there for them. But I thank God that I'm here today to be able to tell my story, and it didn't ruin me, and I still have a good heart. So I really like my heart.
I'm glad you do. I sort of feel like asking this question every show.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know. I'll
love
think about
it.
that.
I totally
I'll,
love it.
I'll think about that a little bit.
You do that if you need to.
I could actually add it to the beginning of the show, couldn't I? Right
You
at the
could.
you part. I'll think about that. I think I'm
Okay.
gonna actually. Um, Happiness, sadness, joy, love, or hope. Which word or words would you like to talk about?
Um, love and sadness.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's so this is the first time anybody's picked that combination.
Okay.
Because I always know when people pick sadness because that's a word I really want to talk about a lot, but it's rare.
Really?
Uh, yeah, that people let's actually start with sadness.
Okay.
Why? Well, actually, let's keep them both together. Why love and sadness? A lot of times people say happiness and sadness because they think
Mm-hmm.
they're opposite of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Why love and sadness? Why'd you pick
Mm-hmm.
that combination?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, because love corrected my sadness. I have a background of juvenile depression and even depression as a young adult. And love corrected it all. God's love corrected it. And then somewhere down the line, after being this depressed person, sad person, feeling like I wasn't good enough for anybody, I started lying to myself or believing a lie from the pits of hell, saying that I was never going to be good enough to be married. So I started saying stuff to myself like, I don't want to be married, there's no good
Mhm.
people out there. I don't want to be. Well, sure, I wanted to be married. I just wanted to be married to someone that would love me and be fair to me and be gentle with me and patient with me. So, it goes in conjunction. Love covers everything. So love is truly what rendered me back to what I was supposed to be. Yeah.
I,
Go ahead.
well, it makes me, a lot of times people think, it's one or the other, it's good or it's bad, but really there's a whole continuum. There's a famous quote. I think it was a guy named Milton that said, "Nothing's in either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so." And I think that when you talk about love and sadness, they're
Mhm.
so intertwined. I
Mhm.
don't know of a time that I've been sad.
Mhm.
Well, I probably do, but as I'm thinking through it now,
Mhm.
the it was because of love,
Yeah.
right? It
Mhm.
was, but also the other thing,
Uh-huh.
it was love that got me out of it too.
Yes.
Um, so they have to, that sadness has to exist. It
Yeah.
is, you know, um, without hell, there could be no heaven
Yes.
type of thing.
Yes.
That's another quote from that same era, one of these
Yeah.
classic writers.
Yeah.
Uh, so, uh, with how do you look at love? You said God's love. You've got obviously the love with your family.
Mhm.
Um, is love something that you disperse? Uh, uh, what's the right word? Kind of thoughtfully, or just boom, there it is, all that I can give.
I love real hard, Jerry. I don't know how to love a little bit. I love really hard. And sometimes I get my feelings hurt in the process. But you know what? If I know it glorifies God, I'd rather get embarrassed. I'd rather be let down. I'd rather be disappointed if it glorifies God in the end of the day. And he said she was obedient to what I led her to do. He's the one that'll come and mend it all with his love. So the world may hurt me, but God, he came and picked me up in my darkest moments when the world said I would never be good enough. Went from being hearing all the time we found a more qualified candidate to being in a position where there is not another more qualified candidate for the seat that I sit in. So I know God's love, and God's love, self-love, and love for each other is my recipe.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a love pie. Okay.
Back to sadness for a second. You used the phrase getting your feelings hurt. Is
Mhm.
that the same thing as sadness? Are they closely knit, or are they not the same at all?
It could be closely knit. Because sometimes in the process of getting your feelings hurt, when you love someone in a capacity that they don't return it, or you trust someone in the capacity that they don't return it, that makes me sad. To think like, wow, I trusted you, or wow, I showed you so much love that you turn around and stab me in the back, or whatever the situation is. That always that not always, because sometimes you can get your feelings hurt and it's kind of like just an insult and then you just kind of get over it, not not
Yeah.
every time you get your feelings hurt you're sad, but they certainly have some correlation at times.
And do you think that, so sometimes, when I ask people about happiness,
Mhm.
it's like a constant kind of feeling that they have, and they they almost draw a line that sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're sad, and then joy is more of a spike. I don't know if you agree with that,
Ooh,
uh,
so
but yeah,
I would say kind of the other way around for me, because joy, the world didn't give it to me, first of all, and the world can't take it. So it's something that's in me nonstop. That joy is a fruit of the spirit. And if the spirit of God, the Holy Spirit lives in me, then that joy is a constant thing. I might get sad or I might not be happy, but I have to count it all joy, even in the times that I don't understand it, because I am just coming out of something right recently, Jerry, that was hard for me to understand and hard to let that joy abide. But every day that I kept saying, Lord, help me to see what you see, it kept getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And there I was, still in joy and making my way back to that happiness, because while I wasn't focusing on that thing, God was using other things and other areas to really reinforce the joy and happiness that I should have been experiencing.
so 2 out of 3 people that I've asked agree with you about the definition of joy and happiness.
Okay. Okay.
And 1 out of 3 think it the other way. And my
Okay.
original hypothesis was what I originally said,
Uh-huh.
and then it's being proven wrong by the crowd.
Okay.
So, or different, I guess.
Okay.
And so, do you think that the joy is constant and the sadness is constant, and sometimes they overshade each other, over, what's the right word? Um, Overpower each other, maybe.
Um, well, I really try to combat sadness as much as I can, just because of my background with depression.
Hmm.
So I really, but I also I try to be mindful of respecting that lowness, because if I'm never low, how do I call out? How do I ask for help? If I was high all the time, I wouldn't say, Lord, I need you. I need your help. Lord, pull me up. If I'm already up, so I respect those low sad times. I don't say that they're constant, but they're regular. They're
Yeah.
definitely regular, and I'm grateful even for those times, because in those times of sadness, I always come out stronger, because I go to that secret place and I say, Lord, be my strength. You are the joy of my salvation. And I just really try to keep myself in that place until
So, I think you muted just a little bit. Can you say something so I can make sure?
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
you're
my
good.
phone.
Nope, it's okay. Just
Okay.
want to make sure it was that and that it didn't permanently mute you.
No.
So to me, sometimes when I talk about this subject, I think about sadness as the hot stove.
Mhm.
And if you put your hand on that hot stove and you don't feel anything, you're going to mess up all your tissue here. You're going to really burn yourself without feeling that pain. But if you feel that pain, it makes you pull away from it, and it gives you that signal that you got to look at something's wrong. You've got to protect yourself and figure that out. And I love the way that you phrased that.
That was good.
You're kind of saying the same thing.
Yep.
So, did we forget to talk about anything or promote anything?
I don't believe so, but I do want to mention Bless Fest 2021, which will be at Riverfront Adado, and my business LuvCovers will be participating on the 28th. On the 28th. That's a Saturday. So LuvCovers will be there, along with your girl Reese. I'll be sharing my testimony and perhaps some spoken word poetry and a little mini fashion show, kind of show what the flavor is at LuvCovers. So I'm certainly grateful to Bless Fest for allowing me that platform to be able to share my ministry and to also share my business, and just be out there with the community and just being there one for the other and supporting one another. So yeah, don't forget Bless Fest. Yes.
All right. And thanks for doing that shout out and giving the date and all of that. I'm sure that Genesis will be happy with that.
Yeah, it's 3 dates. It's the 26th, 27th, and 28th, I believe.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll double check it before I post it. And I'm sure they'll post it on the Fledglings page too.
Okay.
So thank you very much. 1, for adjusting the time. 2, for showing up with so much passion and energy. I think this is a great show, and I think you are a great guest, and I love your questions. I love your responses, and thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me, Jerry. I am honored, and I'm glad to be here. And you keep on having these awesome interviews.
I will. And you and I will talk more. I'm sure of it.
All right.
So what would you like to take us out with?
I will just reiterate again. Just be the best version of yourself. Don't let any of your haters, naysayers, even sometimes ourselves kind of tell ourselves that we can't. And you can. Trust in God, have faith. That's what I do. So I'm just sharing with you all to make everything great, see the best in everything, and just be your awesome self.
Well, there you go, everyone. Another great episode Every Damn Day. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Yeah. And everyone, we will see you tomorrow. I should be back in Michigan and on our normal time. So thanks for your patience. Thank you, Dara.
Thank you, Jerry.
See y'all.